It poured and was super windy all night. My setup with the tarp worked well. Things got a little bit damp, but I didn't get soaked or anything, so that worked out. I want to really thank Dave and Wendy. Shh, they're still asleep. They let me hang out with them all night in the little cabana, and they even fed me. Unbelievable hospitality. They work at the mine, and this is where they come spend their time off. It's about an hour's drive or less from Labrador City. We're about 500 kilometers from Goose Bay, the end of the line. I should be able to find a hotel there. Apparently in Labrador City it's all contractors and workers, so every room gets booked up. I couldn't believe it that I could not find one room to stay in. Anyways, Goose Bay should be a lot easier. We've got a long day of driving. The weather is supposed to clear up. Let's hit the road. Thanks again to Dave and Wendy. A nice little camp spot. They pay $1,000 a year for the site. Quite the downpour last night, and the wind was howling. I thought the tarp was going to blow right off. Last time I had service and checked the weather, it said sunny from now on, so we'll see if that holds true. It's about 200k ride. We've got 300k left to Goose Bay. Right now I'm gonna find a restaurant. There's one in town apparently. Okay, had some breakfast, tried to get in touch with some hotels in Goose Bay. 2 were full, one's a shithole, and I'm trying to get in touch with the last one. I have about a 3-hour drive. Flat again. And I've done nothing but just be driving on the highway, so I don't know what the hell's going on. Didn't help me fix the tire. It's back on. There was a little pinch flat in it, not sure from what, right by the stem, so I was able to find it. But now that's 3 in 2 weeks. Back on the road. No idea what the problem is. I don't know if it's the tire. Checked, couldn't find anything in the tire. Always a different spot. Anyways, it didn't take 3 hours like the last time. And having that extra set of hands was certainly helpful. Anyways, that's delayed me, but the rain has stopped just in time for me to get the tire back on. Onward! Where do I begin? About 20 kilometers from Goose Bay, and the tire's going flat again. So that's the new tube. I discover basically this, which I didn't see before. So some guys said there is a shop in town, so I'll find out tomorrow. So hopefully be able to get a new tire tomorrow or the day after. And of course all this happened in the pouring rain. Right now I've stuck some duct tape over the hole. I'll throw everything back together. At least I can tootle around town, at least get somewhere. And hopefully the one shop in town will have something I can use. Figure out if I can get this thing back on. Thanks.
Are these comfortable to drive as everyone says they are?
I wouldn't say comfortable,
No?
but it's not terrible. Alright, just wait for the pop, see if I can get it back on. Tire's back on. We'll see in the morning if the patch holds. Now that I know that the tire is the one that is screwed, hopefully I can find a fix for it. I'm in my fiasco of a hotel room. All the wet shit is strewn about drying, so I am starving. Have to go find something to eat, and then that's pretty much it. I'm exhausted. I'll hit the hay. The weather is much better than it was yesterday. Might have been the remnants of a hurricane that were passing just on the edge of Newfoundland. Looks like I'm going to be stuck here for a little bit. I'm going to need a new tire, so I've ordered one up, but it's going to be here probably tomorrow. By the time the tire gets here, I'm not gonna get out tomorrow either, so it looks like the next day. So I'm stuck here for a couple days, and then it's a big drive to get out of here anyways. It's 700 kilometers to get down to the ferry, which will take me over to Newfoundland. Not how I was expecting to spend my time in Goose Bay, but tire is temporarily fixed for now. But I'm not confident that I can go a long distance on it. So I'm gonna go for a short drive and go for a little bit of a hike. And that's pretty much our day today. All kinds of random problems. I went to check the air just to make sure. And when I pushed the gauge in, the air wouldn't stop coming out. So I took the pin out and tried to put it back in. And now I'm gonna fill it up and see if it's still leaking from the pin. Well, that's the end of that. No hike today. I went to use the air hose to fill it up, and then the stem just blew right off. Luckily, the gas station is just across the street. And the bike's making a funny clunking sound coming from the engine. I'm terrible at keeping my tires together. At least I'm becoming quite the expert at getting the tire changed. I've got it down to about an hour. I put a plug in the hole for now, and then put some duct tape and the old tube patch over the hole on the inside. Should only have to last till tomorrow, and I'm not going to be doing much driving on it. Risking a 17-kilometer ride to get to a trail area. I'm getting a tire flown in from St. John's. And that's going to be hopefully here tomorrow. It's going to cost more to get the tire here than the actual tire. This is Birchbrook, and they've got a whole selection of trails. Should be better off than my last number of hikes where I was bushwhacking.
2 hours later.
Not a bad little trail. It's all for cross-country skiing, so it was a little bit overgrown. I'm at Frenchies Outdoor Shack in Goose Bay, and we've just got the tire installed. Flown in from St. John's. It's a Bridgestone Battle Axe Adventure. I'm basically limited to whatever the supply was, so it'll have to do. It's already late afternoon, so I'll be spending one more night here, and we'll get going bright and early. It's 700K to get to the ferry, so we'll get the trip going again. So it's 700 bucks to have the tire flown in, then installed, and hopefully I'm done with issues for a bit. It's finally happening. I'm packed up and we're gonna be leaving Goose Bay. After 4 days trying to get this tire fixed, I'm finally ready to get back on the road. It's about 700 kilometers to get to the ferry. There's a few stops that I want to try and make along the way. There's Cape Charles, which is the easternmost point of North America, and it looks difficult to get to, and I want to see if I can possibly make my way there. But otherwise, I'm just excited to get back on the road. I just got to pack up the bike, I got to get some fuel, and then we'll be back rolling. Feels weird to actually be back on the road, fully packed up. Still way too heavy. A few things I could get rid of, but not sure how I can really lighten my load. First stop is getting some fuel. All fueled up. Be very happy if my microphone works again. You'll be able to hear me rambling on. Okay, 300K to the next gas stop. I think we're going through the middle part between here and the coast. 3 odd hours of a long, boring drive with nothing going on. And then hopefully check out some coastal areas. We are at 12 degrees, tad nipply. For the next couple of days, they're supposed to be fairly nice and warm. So we're about 10 kilometers from Goose Bay, and this is where I ran out of fuel in the pouring rain and had the flat tire. So I had to tootle along with like 10 pounds of air in the tire, limp into town. Hopefully that's all over now. A little bit on the 500 west backtracking, and now brand new road, 510 south. The Labrador Coastal Drive. Except half of it's through the middle of Labrador. It says 392 on the sign to Cartwright Junction, but I've got 300, which is weird. Anyways, it's 400K, so I'll have to use all my fuel supplies if it actually is the 400. Hate these grates. mic is just wobbly all over the place. Whew. That is one of the more uncomfortable feelings on a motorcycle for sure. It's so desolate. You're so far from anything. There's absolutely nothing out here. Endless miles of straight road. In the last hour and a bit, I've seen 2 cars come the other way. A hare barely missed my front tire, and 1 chipmunk. Wow. Alright, just a little break. Apparently 180 kilometers to gas, if Google is right over the road signs. Middle of nowhere, having birds come right up to you and eat out of your hands. I reloaded the boxes. I had the food box, which is heavier on the right side with the exhaust, and then I was like, well, the exhaust is also a bit heavy, so maybe I should put the heavy box on the left side and the clothes on the right side and have it balanced out a little bit more. I haven't noticed too much of a difference, but we'll see. Well, there's apparently fuel at Cartwright Junction, and I'm 3 kilometers from it. And I'm chugging. I don't think I'm gonna make it. I'll have to hit the spare. Fuel. So close. These windshield wiper fluid canisters have come in handy. I still got the other 3 liters and a bit in the bladder. So if the Google is right and I can get fuel at 3 kilometers, I'm good. We're at a comfortable 18 degrees. It was chilly 9 and 10 degrees earlier. Woo! Okay, turns out it's another 100K down the road still, and they don't have any fuel here. The maintenance guy says, oh, he has fuel, but he can't do nothing with it. I'm gonna have to use all my reserves. Turns out the internet lied about getting fuel here. Okay, I'll reserve fuel in. It's 103 to Fort Simpson, where they have fuel. Alright, we are a kilometer away from gas. And another one of these great bridges. Pull them in and I'll be able to resupply. So this is Port Simpson, where I completely fueled up. But I think that was probably the longest stretch that I'll have without fuel, probably for the rest of this trip. And that is the ocean. You can smell the sea air. Okay, just had a little lunch. Got a few provisions. Here's a view of the bay. We should have lots of coastline now. I've got 52K to Mary's Harbor, and hopefully find out some information. Cape Charles is the easternmost point of North America for the mainland. But to get there is not the easiest. From Mary's Harbor, there's boats that'll take you around way out and then drop you off, but I'm not sure how that works. But also there seems to be a trail, and I don't know if it's a hikeable trail, and it's 16K. I might have a look at that as well. Okay, we've made it to St. Mary's Harbor. So I talked to some locals. The prospects for this trail to get to Cape Charles don't look so great. It's a snowmobile trail, so it's probably not going to be walkable from what they says. But I need to go to Lodge Bay to start, which is 10k down the road. And I need to try and find Gerald. Gerald has the 411 apparently on this trail, so apparently some people have walked it. I am in Lodge Bay at the end of their tiny road at their cemetery. The beginning of the trail that takes you to Point Charles. The locals say it's a snowmobile trail. Some people have said that it's been hiked. I was supposed to try and find Gerald, but I couldn't find Gerald or anybody else who knew more about it. Apparently it might get boggy, go around ponds, no defined trail. But the first part is defined, so it's late. It's around 5 o'clock, and I figure I was going to be spending the night anyways. So I'll head out on it and see what it looks like. And if it gets bogged down or looks really ridiculous, I guess I'll turn back. And if I get too far out, then I guess I'm spending the night there like I planned anyways. Well, let's get on with this adventure.